Okay, we'll start, okay? Good evening, everyone, and a warm welcome to Sai English Talks webinar series, episode 9. Sai English Talks is a platform that explores the many dimensions of human behavior and communication, fostering learning through meaningful conversations and shared perspectives. I'm Elizabeth Susan Walakuri, consultant psychologist and spoken English trainer at Wimble Academy. And it is my pleasure to welcome you all to today's session. It is now my privilege to introduce our presenter, Ms. Bina Samuel. Bina is a behavior support practitioner based in Victoria, Australia. She holds a Bachelor of Psychology and a Master of Human Resource Management and is currently completing a diploma in counseling. Her professional experience spans disability services, hospitality, education, health technology, and business leadership. She is also a professional master of ceremonies, reflecting her passion for communication and connecting with people. This afternoon, or more this evening, Bina will be presenting Beyond Behavior, What Lies Beneath. In our daily lives, we often form impressions based on what we observe, don't we? Today's session invites us to pause, reflect, and explore human behavior from a fresh perspective. It promises to be an engaging and thought-provoking journey. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in extending a warm welcome to Miss Bina Samuel. Bina, we are delighted to have you with us today. I now hand over the mic to you. Over to you, Bina. I will make you the co-host as well because you have a PPT to share, right?
Yes. Thank
Okay.
you.
Okay. Hold on. Bina, make a host. Okay. You're the host now. Go ahead,
Wonderful.
Bina.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Before I begin, I would like to thank you, Susan ma'am, for inviting me to spend this time with all of you today. It is a privilege to be here at the Wimble Academy Sai English Talks platform. And I'm genuinely grateful for the opportunity to share something that has become deeply important to me on episode 9 of this webinar series. Before I begin, can I ask that you allow me a couple of minutes to bring up my PPT? Wonderful. May I ask if you can all see the presentation? Can I confirm that it is visible and everyone can hear me?
You're
Sorry.
visible and you're audible.
Perfect. Thank you, ma'am. All right. Over the next 40 minutes, I would like to invite you all on a journey. Not simply through psychology, not simply through behavior, but through something that sits quietly beneath almost every interaction we have with another human being. Today, I want to explore the stories we tell. The stories we tell about other people, the stories we tell about ourselves, and how those stories shape the way we understand, respond to, and ultimately care for one another. Because every day, whether we realize it or not, we meet people whose behavior asks questions before it offers answers. Sometimes those questions are loud. Sometimes they are quiet. Sometimes they are hidden beneath anger. Sometimes beneath silence. Sometimes beneath tears. Sometimes beneath laughter. The challenge is that behavior is the only part we can see. The story behind is often invisible. Today is not about learning to become perfect at understanding people. It is about becoming just a little more curious before we make judgments. It is about recognizing there's often more to a person than what we can see in the first few minutes that we meet them. So, I would like to introduce you to someone. His name is Tom. Now, I would like to ask something of all of you. Not as psychologists, not as clinicians, not as educators, not as parents, not even as professionals, but simply as human beings. Who do you think Tom is? Now, if you're comfortable, I'd love for you to have a look at the picture, take a couple of moments, and just tell me what you think when you see this image. It could be a sentence, it could be just a word. I'd love you to just have a look at the image, and if you're comfortable, please share with everyone what thoughts spring to your mind the moment you see this picture. Now, there are no right answers, there's no wrong answers. I'm simply interested in seeing what your mind naturally begins to do.
An abandoned child.
Sorry?
An abandoned child.
Abandoned child, perfect. Yes, thank you. Anyone else?
I also feel it is a child who is really sad about something and hugging his toy for comfort.
Right. Yeah. Sad, hugging his toy, perfect. Thank you. Anyone else? Does anything spring to your mind when you see this image?
A dejected child who is
Dejected?
craving for love from others, probably parents.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you. So, dejected child, craving for love. Thank you.
There is also in the chat box, somebody has written, Divya has written, expecting love and care.
Thank you. Expecting love and care. Perfect. Thank you. Is there anyone else? Is there anyone else who, as we're taking this image in, what is coming to your mind? Anyone?
Some some emotions saw his face.
There are emotions on
Yes.
his face?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
He feels solitude.
Solitude. Perfect. Thank you. Yes, solitude. Wonderful. All right. Before I move on to the next section, just inviting anyone else who, please feel free if there's anyone who would like to share any other thoughts they have. All right. Perfect. Thank you so much. I love hearing all of your thoughts because it's very thoughtful. Your thoughts are very compassionate and they're honest. You saw an image and you were honest about what the image made you feel. This is exactly what I was hoping to see because all of us have known Tom for less than a minute. However, you've already begun writing a story about him. We all tell stories, right? None of us know who Tom is. Yet, every one of us has begun to write a story about him. Now, this is not a criticism. It's simply what human minds do. We try to make meaning of the things that we see in front of us. We notice patterns and we try to fill in those gaps. We try to understand the people in front of us and the things that we see. Most of the time, though, we do it so quickly, we don't even realize that we're doing it. None of us know who Tom is, yet every one of us has begun to write his story. Now, I want you to ask a question. What story am I telling? I wonder if we can carry that question today. Not what diagnosis am I considering? Not am I right or wrong? Not even what intervention should I choose? Just this. What story am I telling? Because the stories we tell will then influence the questions we ask. The questions we ask then influence the relationships we'll build. And the relationships we build influence the lives that we have the privilege of touching. Today is not about discovering whether the story is right or wrong. It is about becoming aware of the fact that we are telling a story. Because once we notice the story, we'll gain the freedom to ask one more question. And sometimes one more question will change everything. Behavior is observable. We can all see it, right? Let's think of examples of behavior that we can see. A child crying, a teenager getting up in the morning, refusing to go to school, someone who's upset raises their voice, a client misses an appointment, a little boy refuses to let go of his toy, a faded blue dinosaur. These are the things that we notice. These are the things we mentally record. These are the things we often try to change. But there is another part of every interaction. There's a part that's invisible. The stories are invisible. So behavior is what we're seeing in front of us. We can observe that, but the story behind will always be invisible. The story we begin telling ourselves about what that behavior means. And those invisible stories, they quietly shape everything that follows after that initial observation we make. The questions we ask, the conclusions we draw, the interventions we choose, and the relationships we build. Now, let's get to know Tom. Can I tell you something about Tom? Tom absolutely loves birds. Not because he wants to feed them, not because he knows their names. He simply thinks that they're funny. He loves the way they walk, the way they bob their little heads as they're walking, the way they suddenly flap their wings and seem completely surprised by themselves. He laughs, and just like a child does, he really laughs. The kind of laugh that makes everyone around him smile without even knowing why. And isn't it interesting that without knowing anything else about Tom, we've begun to already know him? Not his history, not his diagnosis, not his circumstances, but just him as a person. And perhaps that is where understanding begins, not with a problem, but with a person. So this is a common thing that we all do. You see a behavior and you think the behavior is the person, but the behavior is not the problem. We need to understand that there's a person behind there, behind the problem that we see. Tom also loves sandwiches, especially if you look at the image, triangle sandwiches. It doesn't really matter what's inside them. It can be cheese, it can be jam, it can be peanut butter. If they're cut into triangles, Tom thinks that they're perfect. Now, it's one of those little things that makes people smile. It's one of those details that probably doesn't seem too important for now. Now, there's something else that people notice about Tom. Whenever he walks into the room, he asks for the lights to be turned off. Not just dimmed, off, completely off. Sometimes people are confused. Sometimes they're frustrated. Sometimes they wonder, Is he simply refusing to cooperate? At first glance, if you think of it, that explanation seems to fit. He's being difficult, he's making a fuss, and he's just refusing to cooperate. Let's come back to that. If you give Tom just a piece of cardboard, not an expensive toy, if you just give him a piece of plain cardboard, you've given him the whole world. One day, he'll create a pirate ship. The next day, he creates a castle. The next day, he creates a rocket. And using that rocket, he's flying through space. He doesn't need any expensive toy. His imagination fills every empty space with possibility, and he can disappear into that world for hours. Watching him play reminds you that children have the most extraordinary ability to create wonder from almost nothing. And then there's the dinosaur. Everyone notices the dinosaur because it goes with him everywhere. Every appointment, every car ride, even every room that he moves to, he has that dinosaur. If someone asks him to hold it, even just for a moment, Tom becomes very distressed. Sometimes he cries. Sometimes he clings to it with all his strength. I'm sure we've all experienced that with our own children and other children. You see a child have a toy, it's like a security blanket, and they just hold on to it so tight. And even when you ask them, please, can I have that? I'll put it aside for you, they can get very upset. So you can see from the image, Tom is very distressed. He does not want to let go of that toy. Sometimes he lashes out and he gets very, very upset. And for many people, that becomes their behavior they remember about him. So remember, as we said, the behavior becomes the problem. You stop seeing the person and you only start seeing the problem. And that's a story that we often write. So let's ask ourselves again, what story am I telling? Now, has your story about Tom changed since we first met him? Perhaps. Has your story about him become kinder? Perhaps. Has it become more compassionate? Perhaps. Now, has it become more certain? Perhaps. Because certainty has a quiet way of arriving without asking permission. The more pieces of information we collect, the more convinced that we become that we understand the whole picture. How many times have we seen someone's behavior and decided, no, that person is just difficult. They're just being very uncooperative. They're just not listening. They're not easy to deal with. We do that on the basis of one thing that we see, which is their behavior. But there's actually a story behind it. Sometimes the greatest act of humility is recognizing that we don't know the whole story. So our brain is trying to force us to form a judgment about someone, but maybe we need to be humble and say, wait, I don't know the whole story. What is missing? Look at him, peacefully and calmly just sitting with his dinosaur beside him. Now, every behavior we see makes sense within the story that we believe we're seeing. So we've now seen Tom and we've created a story. So his behavior makes sense based on the story that you've decided about him. If I believe Tom is stubborn, his behavior then makes sense. If I believe Tom is manipulative, his behavior makes sense. If I believe he is frightened, his behavior makes sense. But notice something very remarkable, everyone. Tom hasn't changed at all. It is the story we're telling about him that has changed. And if the story changes, everything else changes. The questions we ask, the compassion we offer, and the possibilities we imagine. That is where curiosity begins. So the questions we ask will then determine the answers we find. So if we choose to judge someone based on the behavior that we've observed, we've created a story about them, And we might not ask anything further because we believe the story in our mind is true. So you just stop. But if you're humble enough to say, wait, maybe there's more, you might ask more questions. And if you ask more questions, you'll get amazing answers that you didn't realize. So curiosity is the key factor there. Curiosity changes those questions that we'll ask. So behavior is actually a language. Curiosity is how we learn that language. So when someone is displaying a behavior, when we display our own behaviors, it's a language. We are trying to communicate something. But only if we have someone who's willing to take a moment to try to understand what we're saying with that behavior, can we help them or help ourselves. So, nothing has changed about Tom. Not once. He's still the same beautiful little boy who laughed about birds. He's still the little boy who thinks little triangle sandwiches are the best thing in the world. He's still the little boy who could take a plain piece of cardboard and turn it into the whole universe. He's still the little boy who clung to that little dinosaur and took it with him everywhere he went. So nothing about Tom has changed. What has changed then is our understanding of him. And sometimes that is all it takes. Not for the person in front of us to become differently, but for us to, so not for the person in front of us to become different, but for us to start seeing them differently. Now, before I tell you about the difficult parts of Tom's story, I'd like to tell you about the most beautiful part, Tom's mom. Now, have a look at this image. Tom loved her with all his heart, and she loved him with everything she had. Now, they didn't have much. Some days there wasn't even food waiting for them, waiting for him to eat. But look at that smile on his face. Sometimes there was only bread, but she would sit with him. She would cut the bread into little pieces. She would cut them into little triangles. She would smile at him. She would talk to him. She made him laugh. She had very little to give her child, yet somehow, everyone, she gave him everything. Because children do not measure love by how we behave, by how much we have. They measure it by how deeply they are loved. Years later, people noticed that Tom smiled whenever someone made him a triangle sandwich. But it was never about the sandwiches. It was about the person who first made them for him and made them for him with love. So before there was fear, we now know from his story, there was love. Now, take a look at this image. There were also times when life felt frightening. Not every home, as we know, is filled with peace. Some homes are filled with uncertainty. And when uncertainty becomes too great, children have to find ways to feel safe. For Tom, darkness became safety. When the world outside felt unpredictable to him, a quiet and closed space is what made him feel calm. It was somewhere he could imagine, somewhere he could just wait, somewhere he could hope. Years later, people wondered, why did he always want the lights off? The behavior seemed very unusual. Even think about it. If you're with someone and they insist the lights always have to be off, and even if you try to reason with them, they say, no, the light has to be off. How would we view that? They're being so difficult. He's not cooperating. He's not listening. But now that you know the story behind, it makes sense. Darkness was not the goal. Darkness was never what he was looking for. in making everything dark and asking for lights to be turned off. What was Tom looking for? He was looking for safety. You see, when Tom was little, his days and nights were filled with the sounds of his parents fighting. To keep him safe, his mother would place him in his room and ask him to go hide in the cupboard in the dark just to keep him safe. So ask yourselves, does his behavior now make sense? And then his favorite companion is the dinosaur. So many people look at the dinosaur and they just see a toy. And we can all relate with that. You know, if we have children or we've observed children, they have this one thing that they're holding on to. It can be Lego, it can be a toy, it can be a blanket, and they just cling on to it. So when we see that, what are we seeing? We're just seeing a toy. But Tom saw something else. He saw familiarity. He saw comfort. He saw something that had been with him through change, through uncertainty, and through loss. When everything else around him seemed to change, the dinosaur always stayed the same. So when someone reached to take it from him, even gently, it wasn't simply a toy that they were moving. It felt as though the safest part of his world was slipping away from him. You see, Tom was taken away from his mother when he was still a little boy. And the last thing that his mother gave him was that dinosaur. So for anyone who thought he was being difficult and tried to take that dinosaur away from him, to him, they were taking away the last part of his mother, the mother that he was taken away from. So was he being difficult, or was he trying to hold on to the one person who showed him love? So the behavior hasn't changed. Tom is still the same boy. What has changed? Our understanding. Now everything makes sense. Perhaps that is one of the most humbling things that we can experience. The moment we realize that behavior that we once found very confusing or frustrating or challenging becomes understandable when we know the story behind it. And perhaps that invites us to ask a different question the next time we meet someone whose behavior we don't yet understand. Not what is wrong with you, but what is it that I don't yet know about you? Because every person we meet is carrying chapters that we've never heard. Some of those chapters are filled with joy, some are filled with grief. And sometimes people have grief that they'll never share with anyone else. It's a weight that they carry their entire lives. Some are filled with resilience, some are filled with fear. But all of those stories deserve the same gift: to be met with curiosity before judgment, to be understood before we make certain decisions about that person. That is the true beginning of compassion. And I believe it is also the beginning of healing. Now, the sentence on the screen. Now that you know everything you know, Tom is not unusual because there are actually thousands of Toms. Different names, different faces, different ages, different lives. Some are children, some are teenagers, some are adults. Some are sitting in our waiting rooms, some sit in our classrooms, some are in our workplaces, some are in our own families. And every one of them is carrying a story that we cannot see. Maybe that is why this conversation matters so much, because Tom just isn't one little boy. Tom represents every person whose behavior has been seen before their story has been heard. I'd like to return to a question that we've carried with us throughout today. What is the story I am telling? When we first asked that question, the question was about Tom and his story. Now, I would like you all to think of someone in your life, someone that you find very difficult to understand, someone whose behavior leaves you feeling very frustrated, someone you have made a story about and you've quietly become very certain of that story. Now ask yourself again, what story am I telling about them? And then I want you to ask one more question. What story might I actually be missing? Sometimes that single question, the choice to ask that question, is the beginning of a very different relationship. Curiosity creates space where certainty closes it. So if we look at that sentence, if you meet someone and you make up a story about them in your head and you see the behavior and you think this is why they're doing it, and you make that certain judgment and you're not allowing any space for anything else to come in, you'll never understand them. But if you choose to be curious, suddenly there's space. Curiosity, though, doesn't mean that we excuse harmful behavior. It doesn't mean that we remove boundaries. It doesn't mean that we stop holding people accountable. Curiosity simply asks us to understand before we decide, to seek meaning before you make the assumptions, to remember that understanding someone and agreeing with everything they do, they're not the same thing. You can understand someone and still not agree with what they're doing. They're two different things. In fact, the clearest boundaries are often offered by people who understand the most. So, what if, before asking, what is wrong with you? And I know all of us have done that, including myself. When you see behavior and you see someone behaving in a way that seems difficult and frustrating, the first thing that we think is, what is wrong with you? What if, before we ask the question, what is wrong with you, we ask, what happened? Because maybe they're behaving that way because something happened and they're trying to communicate their feelings about that. What if, before asking, why are you behaving like this, we ask ourselves, what might they be trying to communicate about themselves in this moment? What if, before we decide who someone is, we become curious about how they became the way that they are? If we were able to do that, I wonder how many conversations would change? How many relationships would change? And if you think of it, how many lives would actually change? Over the years, I've come to believe that curiosity begins with one simple word. Can anyone guess and tell me what that word is? How do we become curious? What is that one simple word that we can ask when we're curious? Have a think about it. You don't have to give me an answer, but just think. Susan, ma'am?
Yeah, I was going to say, is it interest? Having an interest?
And when we're interested about something, I have two children, and my 7-year-old, the one thing she has a million questions, as anyone with young children know, especially at that age. She keeps asking me if I give her a boundary and I say, please don't do this, or please come here. The first question she asks me, and she'll say it a million times, why? That's all we have to do. It is one simple word. But curiosity begins with that simple word, why? Not, why are you doing this to me? But, why does this make sense to you? You're behaving a certain way, but for them to behave that way, there's something they're thinking in their minds that is right to them as to why they're doing that behavior. But we need to figure out what that is, and that simple word, why, will bring us to the answer. It's not asking, why won't you just listen? But what is it that you're trying to make me hear? Another situation that's very common is when you're having an argument with someone, the voice goes up. The reason we raise our voice is because the other person is not hearing you. So you immediately think, if I'm just a bit louder and I raise my voice, maybe then they'll listen. But is that the reason they're not listening? Because your voice is soft? No. It's because they're not willing to accept what you're saying. That means they've created a story about you and your behavior in their mind, and they're not being curious. They've made a judgment, they've made a story, and they're sticking with that story. So that one question, why, changes the entire relationship. That one word in my own life has changed the way that I see people. And I hope, perhaps, that one word will stay with you too, long after this presentation. Just asking the question. Because the immediate thing for all of us to do when we have someone being aggressive, either verbally or physically, or just being really in your face and making you upset and not listening, we just shut down. We think, oh, I don't want to deal with this person. They're so difficult. But if you stop for a moment and think, wait, why are they saying this? What are they feeling? What is influencing them doing this? That will change everything. When I find myself becoming certain about someone, there are 3 questions that I keep coming back to. What happened? What is the relevance of this question? History matters. When you think of behavior, you can't think of it in a vacuum. It's related to a lot of different things, right? So a person's history matters. How they came to be who they are. Even a simple thing as what happened to them right before the behavior happened. There's a ABC chart, as we know, with collecting behavior or behavioral data. When you're trying to find out a difficult behavior or figure out why someone's doing it, you do A, B, C. You figure out what happened right before the behavior happened, what happened while the behavior was happening, and what happened immediately after. And in our own lives, if we can start doing that, you start to then see a pattern. Because as I mentioned before, we love to make meaning. We're meaning makers as humans. We try to fill in gaps. It's having a frame of reference. When you see someone, you have a frame of reference and you think this is why they're behaving that way, and you immediately make that judgment. This is why they're doing that. So, history matters. What brought that person to where they are in that moment? Second question, what matters to them? Because people are more than what has happened to them. As we went with Tom's example, so many awful things have happened to Tom. And when we think of those things happening to an innocent child, it breaks your heart, right? So initially, we thought he's being very difficult, right? He's making a fuss. He wants the lights off. If his sandwich is not cut in the triangle shape, he kicks up a fuss. If you try to take his dinosaur away, he gets very upset. So our initial story was he's being difficult, right? But then the story changed as we figured out more to his story. So people are more than what has happened to them. And the third question is, what is needed now? So we've asked the question why, and we are figuring out what is important to that person, what matters to them, and there is that sense of understanding. But what is the next step after understanding? Compassion must become action. It is very easy to hear about something that is difficult, to speak to someone who is going through something very difficult and feel compassion. All of us, we have beautiful hearts. You feel compassion. But as practitioners, as parents, as friends, compassion must become action. These three questions have become a very important anchor for me, and I hope moving on, they become an anchor for you too. Understanding is only the beginning. So, understanding is not the destination. That is where help actually begins. Because when someone feels that they are understood, they are more likely to trust. When trust begins, healing suddenly has somewhere to grow. Trust lays the foundation for healing to begin. And that is a privilege. So, for someone who's gone through trauma, something very, very difficult in their life, if you are able to make them feel understood, if you are able to make them feel seen and heard and known, you can gain their trust. And once they start trusting you, you can then help them heal. Now, we've spent today talking about the stories that we tell other people. But before we finish, I want to leave you with one final thought. We all live inside stories. Not only the stories others tell about us, but the stories we quietly tell ourselves. Some of those stories are full of hope. Some are full of courage. But as we know, some are written in a lot of pain. Perhaps, even on this call, some of us are carrying stories that are still very difficult for us to share or talk about. Stories that told us, you're just too much. You're not enough. No one will ever understand you. But maybe, just maybe, don't you think these stories deserve some curiosity too? Because compassion should not stop only with the people we meet. It must also include the person you see in your mirror. There's one final story that I would like to share with you. Many of you know someone who has been a part of this group for a very long time. Someone whose work has touched countless lives. Someone many of you deeply respect. She is my mother. Have a look at the picture and see if you can see someone that all of you recognize. Throughout the day today, you met me simply as today's presenter, but this is my mother. All of you know her. Today, you met her daughter. Now, you couldn't have known of this part of my story, not because you weren't paying attention, but because I had not shared that part of myself yet. So perhaps this is one final reminder that every person we meet is more than the chapter that they've allowed you to read. People will only ever know what you choose to show. As we finish today, I'd like to leave you with words that have guided everything we've explored together. Our responsibility is not to understand everyone immediately. Our responsibility is to simply remain curious, stay humble, be compassionate enough to keep trying to understand all the people in our lives. Because deep down, all of us just want to be understood. We want to be deemed worthy enough to be understood and worthy enough to be loved. So, for anyone listening to this, if you believe the stories that have been told about you, let me give you a new story. And I hope you tell yourself that. And I hope you start believing this story about yourself. You are worthy. Your thoughts and feelings matter. You deserve to be loved. And most importantly, you are enough. Thank you. So I I would love to invite any thoughts, any feedback that you might have. But before that, let me hand the reins back over to not Susan, ma'am. I should say it was very difficult to call her Susan, ma'am. But yes, my mother, Amma, I will hand the microphone back to you.
Thank you very much, Bina. That was one story that you talked about. It's just wow, super. That was truly insightful and thought-provoking session on beyond behavior and what lies beneath. The story about Tom, that was really touching. But then you took us through the various things, various aspects of it, the questions we ask, and that will determine the answers we find. And you also said curiosity is the key factor, and behavior as a language that helps us to understand. So curiosity before judgment, that was very important message. So, and all of us are carrying a story. So, and you also said understanding is where helping begins. So that was such insightful things that you shared with us. And it is your presentation, it really encouraged us to pause, reflect, and look beyond first impressions with greater understanding and empathy, especially about behavior and our understanding of others. Thank you for sharing your knowledge, perspective, and practical insights this evening. Yes, I know. For me also, it was difficult calling you just Bina and not recognizing you as my daughter. But I guess we wanted to carry that surprise until the very end. So anyway, I wish you all the best and I wish you every continued success in your future endeavors. And thank you once again. And I would like to open the floor to everyone for their feedback and any interactions. Please feel free to give your interactions, but please do remember to keep your interactions or your talk to maybe 2 to 3 minutes so that everybody gets a chance to speak as well. Because each and every one of your feedback or each and every one of your interaction, we value very much. We value your perspective. We value your thoughts. So please do come forward and give Bina a feedback of what you thought of the story that she presented with us and what we understood from it and how much it touched you. Thank you once again, and I invite you to come forward.
Good evening, Susan ma'am.
Good evening, Bindu.
Good evening, Bina ma'am.
Hi. Hi. How are you?
Excellent presentation. But
Thank you.
at first sight, a doubt was come to my mind.
Oh,
Is it,
really?
is it Susan ma'am's daughter?
Oh, you could see some resemblance?
No, I don't know but first word
You thought that.
is I think is it Susan ma'am's?
Okay. Maybe the word Australia gave it away because when I mentioned you're from Australia.
Australia also.
All right, all right.
Well,
Okay.
I'm very proud. If you made that connection, I'm very proud that I have that connection with my mother. So that makes me feel very happy.
Thank you, Bina ma'am, for this wonderful session. Thank you.
Thank you. You're welcome. Thank you.
Hello, Miss Bina Samuel.
Hi.
Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening.
ma'am. That Bindu ma'am said to that that also I that time I doubted that this
You also thought the same thing, huh?
maybe maybe that face structure that
Oh, okay.
sometimes
You could see
and
some
that
sort of face cut.
fluency, that English fluency and also that bold and confidence that I sometimes think equal to Susan ma'am.
I see.
Okay, very excellent presentation. That that blood relation that is going to daughter also very curiosity. The importance of that about the curiosity. That compassionate behavior is observable and the stories are invisible. Each and every person's behavior we not discovered that behavior behind something has happened. Nobody feel about this, only have seen that and created about his or her stories, but anyone hiding behind it, that not discovered in someone. Very good presentation. Excellent one. Congratulations. And
Thank you.
that time, compassion must become action. That is very important point.
Yes.
And okay, thank you. Thank you,
Thank
ma'am.
you.
Very amazing end.
Oh.
End is very amazing. Susan ma'am,
Even I was surprised. I had no clue. She didn't tell me anything
very
about it.
important day, very special one. That I
Yeah.
noticed that.
I told them it's a special because I couldn't tell them you're my daughter. So I
Yes,
told
yes,
them that
yeah.
it's a special day. Please do attend.
Yes, yes, very,
Because
very,
both
many
both
times send that link many times, send it to and a special one.
Oh,
Okay,
thank
thank you.
you.
yeah.
I love that
Congratulations,
you
ma'am.
saw similarities between us because who I am today is because Susan ma'am is my mother. So I'm very proud that you see similarities between me and her. Thank you.
We are
Both
also very proud that
both Bina, both
able
Reena
to
and
see
Bindu,
her.
they are my batch one students for spoken English.
Yes, she's told me so much about you, so it's lovely to speak to you and to say hi.
Hey, Susan is our mother.
Yes.
Yes,
Thank
thank you
you
Okay,
so
so
much,
much.
Reena.
okay.
Anyone else?
Good evening, Susan ma'am.
Good evening, Hasina, is it?
Yeah, yes, ma'am. I'm Hasina.
Okay, Hasina, we broke the surprise.
Yeah, yes, yes. At the end of the session itself, you keeping on that surprise, no?
Yes, to the last minute. Yes.
Yeah, yeah. And good evening, Bina ma'am.
Hi. Hi, how are you?
Yeah, fine. I'm Hasina.
Hi, lovely to meet you.
Yeah, yes, ma'am. And I'm very glad to see you in the same platform, both of you. It was a
Thank
really
you.
a wonderful thing. That
Thank
Susan ma'am early at the early Susan ma'am didn't tell anything about you because today yours class and both of you keep on going that with that surprise at the end of the session.
you. I think the reason I wanted to keep that surprise was when you first meet me, there'd be a story in your mind about me as well. But it was
Yes.
to explain that, it's not a mistake, but unless I said that, no one would know that part of my story. There are, of course, some people who had thought that I could be connected with her, but to then share that piece of the story gives more
Uh,
context. Yes.
yeah, okay.
I'm
I was
happy it
really,
worked.
yeah, yes. I was really wondered to see that picture.
Yes.
I had no clue she was putting that in
Yeah,
there.
yeah, again and again I see on that picture. Yeah, it's really. Thank you so much to this both of you. And it was a very good session and presentation. So
Thank
thank
you.
you so much, Bina ma'am. And once again, thank you so much, Susan ma'am.
You're welcome, and thank you, Hasina. Hasina was my train the trainer batchmate.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
Yes.
Yes.
Even Biju K. Matthew is my batchmate. Biju, are you there?
Vijay sir is also there, I think.
Yeah, I can see him, but I mean, I can see his profile,
Yeah, yes, yes.
but he's not.
He's there. He's there.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you, Hasina.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Lovely to meet you.
And welcome you, ma'am.
I appreciated that you came on and gave your feedback because Hasina was not feeling well. She just messaged
Ah,
me that she has fever and she's lying down.
yes,
But she
yes, ma'am.
managed to listen and came for and gave a feedback as well. I appreciate it. Thank you
Thank
so
you
much.
so much. Thank you.
And welcome once again.
Thank you.
Dr. Rajendran is there.
Ma'am, Susan ma'am.
Yes,
I'm,
doctor.
so I am really in a confusion.
What is the confusion?
What is happening here?
My daughter did the presentation. That's the only thing that happened. And I didn't tell anybody that it is my daughter doing it. That's the only thing.
That picture itself is a better clue.
Oh, okay. That's towards the end. Yes.
Thank you very much. Thank you. See, it's your daughter, so it may not be. It will be. Will be more than you.
Yes. Yes. Expect more than me for sure.
Nice presentation. I liked it. See, the in a nutshell, see, don't evaluate anybody in the
Exactly.
first place. Don't
Until you know what is behind, what is their story, right?
yes. Don't evaluate anybody in the first place.
Yes.
See,
Yeah.
everyone has their own stories. So many.
Yes.
Happy or sad. Everybody lives on. So many stories
Yes.
throughout our life. See how many, what are the experiences we had in our life.
Exactly.
Bina, you were
Yes.
only a child.
Yes.
You were a child. Then see, really, at the when you reach our age, what will be or what would be the stories you collect within you? I really wonder.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Thank you. You told me the compassion must become action.
Yes.
We have to approach everybody with empathy.
Yes.
The beautiful word, empathy. So really, I see. Actually, I came to know. They came to understand the word empathy only after taking the psychology uh, diploma. See, if I was taken it in the very beginning of my MBBS, I would have corrected so many incidents. I would be, I would shine in so many. I would shine in so many situations.
You would have handled things differently, wouldn't you?
differently. Yes.
Yes, yes.
It's really, I said, I hope everybody,
Learn psychology, yes, for sure. That's very important from the school
should
age
know
itself.
the basics of psychology.
Yes,
Everybody should know.
very correct. Gives
Thank
us
you
a
very much.
better
Thank you.
understanding. Yes.
Yes.
Thank
Better.
you. Thank you
Thank you
so
very
much.
much, Doctor. Dr. Rajendran is a diabetologist, but he
Oh,
took,
yes.
after his retirement, he took a diploma in psychology.
It's never too late.
Yes, yes, lifelong learning.
It's really late. It's really late.
No, let's not think that it's late. You're still
Yes, better
learning.
late than never.
Yes, that's right.
Yes. Really, really.
Yes,
Yes.
that's right.
Thank you.
Shiny, you're there. Do you have anything to say?
Bina ma'am, also good evening, and all the participants, good evening. And
Good
this is
evening.
the first time
Good
I
evening.
joined.
Hello.
Hello ma'am, sorry for not turning on the camera. Very
Okay.
sorry.
Yeah,
It's
we would have
okay.
loved to see you, but
Yes, next time, I mean the next lesson I will do.
okay.
Today
Okay.
not prepared that way.
Okay.
Okay, the presentation was really good. Everybody has commented that the amazing ending. It was really
Yes.
see the mother and the people face of the daughter. And you started that Tom story with the curiosity in our mind. We
Right.
started creating stories. Through that allusion, you have explained that concept very clearly. And even I could correlate my experience also. As soon as we see a person, we start making stories about the person. Sometimes it's totally wrong.
Yes.
Sometimes, again. So that's why now we got the realization that we have to go deep into or our curiosity may help us to understand a person better. So we shouldn't
Yes.
make stories. I mean, don't create a falsified story. In the presentation was really good. And once again, I'm telling you that everything was really good. Your voice modulation and your smiling face. I
Your
remember that
sound is not clear, madam.
Yeah, the sound is breaking a little bit.
Sound is breaking a little.
Little
Your
bit.
sound is not clear.
Yes, yes. Yeah, maybe the net
Am I
connectivity. You're audible, but the clarity is a little poor.
Clarity is.
Okay, anyway, thank you, Bina ma'am. Thank you for the beautiful
Thank you so
presentation.
much. Thank
Yes.
you.
Thank you so much
Thank
for your
you.
feedback.
I
Yes.
appreciate
Yes.
it. Thank you.
Next time you come on the video so we can also see you.
Susan ma'am,
Yes, yes.
thank you. I thank you
Yes,
very
yes,
much
doctor.
for selecting this time. The time 8:30 p.m.
Okay. Yeah, doctor, it's not like I have selected it. It's just the way it worked out with Wimble's availability of the platform. That's why. Because earlier it was 7 o'clock when it was on another day, but then that day they needed it back. So then this is the slot that's allotted because that's the one that's available. So it worked out
Yes,
at 8:30.
it worked out.
The
Really,
only
it worked out. It is
yes.
everybody, almost all will be ready to attend the session.
Yeah, the only thing is, for most people it would be okay, but then for people like Bina, they are in Australia and it is actually 2 a.m. in the morning. So she braved to come on, after I asked her, would you like to do a presentation? Can you do a presentation on this session? At that time, when I asked her, it was at 7 o'clock. But then the time got changed to much later. But then she said, no, Mama, it's okay. I'll do it. Even if I have to get up. So she slept a little bit, then got up and came and did the presentation.
Time. What is the time there?
2
It's up to-
a.m.
Yes,
2:07 a.m.
Yeah, they are 5.5 hours ahead of us.
Yes.
How do I say no, though? How does anyone say no to Susan, ma'am? It's very difficult.
Hello.
Yes, she obliged.
Hello, ma'am.
Yes.
Now I want to say one thing.
Okay.
that is presenting that speaking time. Your daughter asked a question in front of you.
Okay, what is the
That
question?
which is the that is symbol word. Which is the symbol word? Ask a question. Susan ma'am, you say. Which is one simple word, why,
Why?
WHY,
But why?
why.
Yes, yes.
That time also, she said to, I remember that I have two children.
That was a clue too, huh?
So
That
Reena
younger
ma'am was
one,
like a detective. She was finding all the clues. But that's
yeah,
amazing. You remembered all those tiny details. And like I said, those are the things that make a difference trying to understand someone. You
Yes.
listen, you pick
yes.
up the details. So amazing job.
That
Trying to
because Bina ma'am, because your mother's student.
yes.
Yes.
So
Yes, she's trying to put all the pieces
All
together
the clues together.
and complete the story.
Yeah.
Yes, that's right. That's right. Okay, so I think everybody has finished with their feedback. So I think we can wind up, and seeing that it is quite late for Bina also, we'll send her back to bed. So I thank each and every one of you for your patient listening. Thank you very much for attending the session and at the same time giving feedback and making it more interactive. And also, I would like to remind any of you, if you're interested for the spoken English integrated with psychology course, the second batch is starting on July 27th. So if you're interested, please do contact us, either contact me or contact Wimble. Okay. So we will be back again next week, same time, same day, with another presenter. And once again, thank you, Bina, so much
Sorry,
for
I just wanted to quickly say thank you to Wimble Academy. This is such a wonderful platform, and it's amazing. It's an amazing platform to share those talents, but also to learn. It's amazing the learning that you're gaining from each presentation and the ability to give feedback, take criticism. It's an amazing learning for each person. So, hats off to Wimble Academy, and hats off to my mother, Amma.
thank you,
For
thank
all
you.
the effort. I know me and my mother are very close. We speak to each other every single day. And I know the time and effort she puts into this platform and trying to build people up and encourage them. And I know so many presenters will tell her, thank you so much for your encouragement. That is why we did it. And I'm proof. If you listen to Susan, ma'am, you become the best version of yourself. I'm proof of that. So well done to you, mom. Very
Oh,
proud of you. And
thank
I'm
you,
proud
thank
to
you,
see how everyone loves you and respects you so much. It's well deserved. So hats
thank
off
you,
to Wimble and hats off to my mother.
thank you so much. Okay, all right, then we'll let you get back to bed.
Thank you.
Thanking each and every one of you. Shall we stop the recording and wind up? Okay.
Okay, ma'am. Good night.
Okay. Good night. Good
Good
night. Good.
night.
Yeah,
Thank
you
you.
are a lucky
Bye.
girl. You are a lucky girl.
Yes, yes. That's the
Susan
biggest
is
blessing
mother.
in my life, being
again and
Elizabeth Susan
again,
Valkyrie's daughter.
we will hope that a new topic bring to in front of.
I love the experience, so thank you. I would love to maybe one day come back again. So if my mother asks me again, I'm happy to come and spend the time with all of you again.
Okay, all right. So
Okay,
we can
thank you.
stop it. I'm
Yes,
not able
thank
to
you.
stop the recording, but I'll figure it out. We can stop it. Everybody
Okay, good
can leave.
night.
Okay,
Thank
good
you.
night.
Good night, everyone.
Good night. Good night.
Good
Good
Bye.
night.
night.
I'm
Bye.
trying to figure out how to, for some reason, the stop recording is not working. So, Bina, you can leave. That's fine. You
Yeah?
get to bed. Yeah,
Okay.
you get
All
to
right.
bed.
Bye.
Good
Bye,
night,
Mom.
everyone. Good night. Yes. Bye, bye, bye. Okay. Oh, wait, Bina. Hold on.
Yes?
You are the
It's because
host.
I'm the host.
Yeah, can you please make me the host?
Okay, yes.
You click on the three dots
Yeah.
and then make me the. No wonder I wasn't able to. Okay.
Make host. Yep. Change host. I've done it
Okay.
now.
Okay, now. Okay.
Good
Stop
night,
recording.
Bina.
Good night.
Oh,
Good
that
night. Have a wonderful night. Take
that's
care.
you know who that was? That was your
Dad.
dad.
Yeah. Father is also on the call.
Yes, yes. Yes.